Hey guys, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're looking at Space Explorers from 25th Century Games.
In this game, players act as the heads of research and development at the Space Center. They'll be recruiting specialists and sending satellites and spaceships off into space.
Space Explorers is a 2 to 4 player set collection and engine building game. It was originally published by Crowd Games and Moraz Publishing in Russia, but 25th Century Games is bringing an English version to Kickstarter. So let's take a look at it now.
To set up the game, give each player their hub sheet, reference card, research tokens, and a starting specialist card.
Then, lay out 6 specialist cards on the table and 5 projects.
The player to have most recently visited outer space then gets the first player token, and you're ready to begin.
Each turn, players can take one of 2 actions. They can either draw a specialist from the deck or the table and add it to their hand,
or they can add a specialist to a division of their hub.
In order to do that, players must be able to pay the costs shown on the side of their card, either with the tokens that they have collected, by playing cards from their hand in order to gain 2 of any symbol, or by doing a combination of the 2.
After a specialist is added to your hub, it will reduce the cost of adding future specialists to the same hub.
Specialists will also oftentimes give you additional abilities or progress points at the end of the game.
At any time, if a player is able to satisfy the requirements for completing a project, they can immediately take the tile and add it to their collection.
When all of the projects are gone, or when one player has been able to recruit a 12th specialist, the game ends and the player with the most progress points wins.
So obviously we're looking at a prototype copy of the game, and although we've got kind of a small box here, I don't know what the final will look like. It's really a very full game. The very first time I played it, it kind of reminded me of like Splendor, because you're kind of, buying the cheap stuff that you can afford at the beginning, and that makes you stronger and gives you the ability to buy the more expensive stuff so that you can get those big goal cards at the end of the game. It also has a little bit of a feel of maybe like Gizmos, where you've got that, workspace in front of you and you're stacking your cards in there and you're kind of doing some programming. So there's really a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot to think through as you play Space Explorers.
Yeah, we enjoyed the artwork. It's got that 50s and 60s graphic design and space feel to it. Everything that you see on the cards are based on real life, so there are actual satellites and rockets and stuff that are based on the real life things that actually went to space.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the art style. It feels very nice. There's a lot of iconography in the game, which at very first kind of was a little bit of a turnoff. It's all really sharp, but there's so many different little icons that I was just having trouble parsing what they all meant. But the game does come with a really perfect reference guide that has all the cards numbered. You can look at it really quick, figure out exactly what they do. And that's really the best, probably the coolest part about this game, is that pretty much every card has some kind of special ability, whether it just gives you additional resources or if it allows you to do different things like swap the order of your cards or draft one for free, or when you cover this one, you get more victory points. There's a lot of just different things to think through as you're playing it.
Yeah, we definitely enjoyed this one. It's got some depth in making sure that you use the right strategy, not just picking up whatever you can, but making sure you go towards some of those project goals towards the end of the game. We'll struggle a little bit with some of that.
One of the good signs about the game is that I haven't won it yet. I've played it a bunch of different times, and I've lost every time. But it is still an enjoyable process to go through. It is key. You've really got to kind of figure out, what am I going to go for these projects? If you're just kind of nonchalantly buying the cards you can afford, then you're going to lose every time.
Yeah, one thing we didn't mention with the mechanics is when you pay for those specialist cards, you actually pass those tokens on to the next player for them to use. So you can be pretty strategic with the card that you purchase, making sure that you still have some tokens left to purchase the things you want to next turn. And you can kind of prevent other people from, you can hoard some stuff, you can prevent other people from being able to play with the tokens and making them use their cards in their hand.
Yeah, and those types of decisions, do I play this card that I'd really like to add to my queue? Do I just play it to get the 2 symbols so I can finish it off? Or do I richen this guy's pool over here by giving him extra tokens? And there's a lot of just shifting dynamics throughout the entire course of the game. If it sounds like something that you would enjoy, check it out on Kickstarter for sure. And then be sure to subscribe to Tantrum House. We enjoy having you guys around, making cool videos, and talking about Kickstarter stuff all the time. In this game, players will take on the role of heads of research and development at space places. Space Explorer has this... Why is that hard to say? I don't know. Space Explorer. Focus, okay.
Everything in the game are real life, sorry.
They're real life.
They're real life.
Every time I've played it, I've lost. But I've still had fun, which is a good sign.
And be sure to subscribe. And try it again.
Yes.